Welcome to Commander Pop Culture, a place to gather magical information with some laughs, might I add. Shao Jun has a tap ability, lets you tap 2 artifacts, deal 1 damage to each opponent. I was going to just abuse Winter Orb, Howling Mine kind of effects.
But wait! There's more!
In combat, as long as it's your turn, she has flying and first strike, meaning she wants you to go in a direction of equipment because equipment are untapped and they're not used for anything else other than equipping, and they don't care if they're tapped or untapped. So this is a Voltron list. It's a budget list. It's $100 to play. It's an artifact list. It's a burn list. If you like any of those archetypes, this is a deck for you. I get to play a bunch of cards that are unique to Izzet. There are like 2 other commanders that like equipment and doing the Voltron thing. That ping damage by tapping artifacts gives you that extra reach to close out games. Way better than the other 2 can. And it lets you play unique cards that you can't play in those decks either. So I'm excited to go over the tech for this. I call it Crouching Artifacts because Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, there's jumping around rooftops, jumping on air. Kind of like in the movie. Saheeli, Sublime Artificer, every time you cast a non-creature spell, make a colorless servo. The servos are artifacts. Oh yeah, we got a lot of non-creature spells. We have 55 non-creature spells, so that's a lot of tokens you could potentially make with Saheeli. I'm just saying that the hits are good, and you just tap those 1/1s down to just ping people for more damage. She's a brood mother, that's for sure. Enthusiastic Mechanut, you're playing 34 artifacts. Coupons, really great. Same with Foundry Inspector. Ornithopter of Paradise, it's a mana rock for 2 mana. Psymask Stopters, this is another one of your brood sows. He makes Stopters. Third Path Iconoclast, this is another brood sow. Makes soldier artifacts. Loyal Inventor, I'm excited to play this because Shao Jun is an assassin. This is effectively a Fabricate for 43 cents. Great on a budget. Treasure Nabber, if I have excess mana that I don't need, I at least have artifacts to the gain to tap to deal a bunch of damage to people. Seems fun. Ethereum Sculptor, another coupon. Incinerator, this is one of my all-time favorite creatures I slot in all my burn decks. It's because the cost reduction, she gets reduced based on whenever you do damage, i.e. you activate Shao Jun twice and it becomes 1 red pip. And then after that, whenever a source would deal damage, non-combat damage to an opponent, you deal damage to a target creature that player controls. So you just start plinking everyone's stuff off. Reckless Fireweaver, on an artifact ETB, deal damage to each opponent. Thought Monitor, draws 2 cards, has affinity for artifacts. Chromo Seed Shark, also a brood sow, makes incubation tokens. I don't care what kind of token it is, as long as it's an artifact, it's perfect. Forensic Edgeteer. Now this one, whenever you cast an artifact spell, you investigate. This one makes clue tokens and it reduces your equip cost by 1. Pretty sweet. Draw Weather Captain, this is one of your engine pieces. Whenever you cast a historic spell, you draw a card, including your artifact. Reality Chip, this is a future side effect, so only your opponents don't know what you're about to play off the top of your library. Gearston Starn, this is one of your burn spells. It has Ward 2. Whenever a source would deal exactly 1 damage to a permanent player, it deals 2 additional damage to that permanent player instead. So instead of doing 1 damage to each opponent, you're doing 3. And it's efficiently costed for 3 mana. It's like Fire Emancipation, but Fire Emancipation is double the CMC.
Wow, that sounds like a really good deal.
Eagle Vision, this is another free running card that's really powerful that came out in Assassin's Creed. Lets you draw 3 cards for 2 mana. I don't think there's anything better. 2 mana, draw 3. Hero's Blade, auto-equips when a legendary creature enters the battlefield, so it turns your commander into a 6/5. This is a budget deck. I just want to make things affordable for all of you to play and compete with, hopefully, even against people that aren't playing on a budget, which on the channel I end up doing a lot of. Erosion Mycosynth, this turns all your non-land permanents into artifacts. That's pretty nice. Tenza Goto's Maul, this makes it so your commander gets +3/+3 in trample. Blackstone Warhammer for lifelink and trample. Naganita, +3/+0 in trample. Mystic Forge is one of your big card advantage pieces. Lets you place artifacts off the top of your library. Blackblade Reforged, sweet equipment. Champion's Helm goes +2/+2 and has Expert. Basilisk Collar and a lifelink piece are running all the boots for like Lightning Greaves and Lava Spur boots for the protection and the haste. Illusionist Bracers, there is a colon. The cost is on the left. So if you've already paid the cost, you're doubling everything to the right of it. So instead of doing 1 damage to your opponents, you're doing 2 instead. Grafted Exoskeleton, this even applies to the ping ability. So you'll be applying a poison counter for every 2 artifacts you tap. And since this is a Voltron list, you could one-shot people with this thing too. Cloud Key, play a bunch of artifacts, nice coupon. Holly Mine, Winter Orb was a little out of budget because I wanted to feature some other cards that are pretty expensive. So I only got to play one of these effects where if untap, the effect happens. So I just tap it to prevent my opponents from drawing, and then I go to my turn, I untap it, and at my draw step, he'll be untapped, so I'll draw 2 while everyone else doesn't get the effect. It's pretty sweet. Battle Mage's Bracers, it's effectively the same thing as Illusionist Bracers, only in this card I have to sink 1 mana to copy the ability. And it gives my creature haste. Need more haste enablers for sure. Reaver Cleaver, this got reprinted recently, so it's more affordable finally. Came out in the MH3 Commander decks. This was like a $20 card, and now it's $6, so I'm glad to play it. And it's super strong. Every time the equipped creature deals damage to a player, you make that many treasure tokens.
Lots of money. Play. Yeah.
Excalibur, this is a new card that I wanted to really try out. Because of X-less or X the total mana value of historic permanents you control, you have 33 artifacts, so likely you could make this pretty cheap. Gives a creature plus 10/+0 in vigilance, and equip cost to a legendary creature cost 2. You should be two-shotting people with this sword. Unwinding Clock, this lets you just churn out a lot of damage because you untap your artifacts on every player's upkeep. You just tap them down before the next players, do a bunch of damage, rinse, wash, and repeat. Curiosity is an all-star. Whenever enchanted creature deals damage, you draw a card, i.e. when you tap your 2 artifacts. Efficient Construction, this is one of your artifact horrors. They just put out a bunch of artifact tokens. Prison of the Moon, the Neuter, really difficult and annoying commanders. Mechanized Warfare, this turns your 1 damage to 2 damage whenever you tap 2 artifacts. Virtue of Courage, I've always been looking for an excuse to play this thing, and I think this is the deck. It's a removal piece for 2 damage. The other part is whenever I deal damage to an opponent, exile that many cards from the top of my library, I cast them this turn. It's an impulse effect. Every time I tap 2 artifacts. Pretty awesome, a card advantage piece. Citadel Sleep, this is a removal part. Whenever a changed creature deals damage to a player, return a creature to its owner's hand. And again, they're very efficiently costed for 1 mana to start bouncing things to people's hands. Mirren Besiege, I will pick Mirren almost every time unless I have a lot of artifacts in my graveyard, which I think is going to be rare. This is here just so I could pump out a bunch of artifacts for casting artifact. And then my lands are dirt cheap. $9 for this mana base. They're just here for fixing. And that's the list. I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to go in and play a game now with this and show you how it all performs. I think it'll be great. If you enjoyed, subscribe. Thanks for your time. Take care.